Okay, we're up to the Gemara on Samech Chesam Beis. The Mishnah had said that the Kohen Gadol comes to read. He's going to read from the Pasha of Achrei Mos. He's going to read from Emor, and he's going to read from Pashas Pinchas. When he comes to read, he can read in the big day Lavan that he'd been wearing, or he can wear his own tunic. He can wear his own tunic. So the Gemara is going to make a diak. I'm going to get into eventually entering Sugya, whether the Kohen Gadol and Kohen Hedyot, if they're able to have Hana from their clothing, Shlei B'Shas Avoda. The fact that over here, it's mashma that he could go ahead and wear what he wants, that he's able to have Hana. Right? It says, it's talis, Lavan, Mishalai, Mechlal Dekriya, Lava Vaidahi. When it says that he could read in a tunic, a white tunic, Mechlal, we can infer that Kriya is Lava Vaida. Ukatani, and Ratzal Likrois, the big day boots, Kaira. If he wants to read the big day boots, he could. Shmamina, big day kahuna, nitnu lahanas behem. By the fact that he has in other words, the fact that he could wear his own clothing shows it's not an avoida. Or else, how could he do avoida without wearing his own clothing? Now that you told me it's not an avoida, then how could he possibly wear the big day lavan, which is the big day kahuna? Ella, it must be that you are able to wear the big day lavan shleibish as avoida. That's the deal. Says more dil mishayni kriya that tzarich avoidahi. You have no raya. Could be that kriya is not just anything, but it's tzarich avoida, meaning since it's necessary for the avoida itself, therefore what? You could wear it. The boilon, big day kahuna, nitnu lahanas behen or lahanas behen. Dover up to samech chesam midbeis, 4 lines to the bottom. We want to know if the big day kahuna, if you're able to go ahead and wear it or not. Tashma, Mishnah in Tamid. This is speaking about regular kahana, not the Kohen Gadol. They would not sleep in the big day kodesh. Why? Because again, you're worried about them expelling gas. In other words, you can't sleep in them because of that concern. However, mashma, you could eat with them. If you could eat with them, it's shlei b'shas avoda. Says perhaps achil is different. It's sarach avodahi because they're eating karbanis, and the karbanis is a need for the avoda. Kedetanya v'achlu asama shekupa behem, and you'll eat them a shekupa, and they'll get what kapara. So therefore, einachinami could be it is an avoda, and therefore, if it wasn't an avoda, you won't be able to wear them. Okay, the Gemara makes another diak. Sheinuhu deloi. You can't sleep, but you could walk. In other words, once you could walk with them, obviously it's not b'shas avoda. So you see, l'chayra, you have a good raya. Says, no, you don't have any raya. Right? You're not allowed to walk in them either. So why do you pick shena? Why don't you pick sleep? Why do you pick sleep? Why don't you tell me a chiddush you can't walk with them? Says, well, no, there's a chiddush to be told in shena, but safer it's trichalei. That poishtin, you can fold them, take them off, and double them over, fold them over, and use them as a pillow. Okay, so in other words, that's the chiddush that you could use it as a pillow, but not that you could walk with them. So now the obvious question, guys, if you're sleeping on them, using them as a pillow, then l'chayra, you're having enough of them. Now be aware, there's 3 possibilities of why you won't be able to go ahead and use the big day of the Kohen Gadol, of the Kohen Hedyot. One is the din of kachim. It's like you're being moel behegdish. The kodesh, the articles of clothing are kodesh, and you're using them. That's one. 2, if you hold that the avnate of the begodim of the Kohen Hedyot is the same, is not the same as the Kohen Gadol, meaning that it's made of kalayim. So therefore, you have a shatnez problem. Or another problem might be just stamazay. It's divrei chayil. You should use it's divrei chayil. So says the Gemara. You just said poishtin makaplin umenichem tachas r'sheim shmamina big day kahuna nitnu lahanas behen. You could have enough from the big day kahuna because after all, what are you doing? You're folding them up and using them. So Papa loy tema tachas r'sheim. Don't say underneath the heads. Ela ema kineged r'sheim. Only say what kineged r'sheim. Not under their heads, but opposite. Not lying down upon them. In other words, the same reason you can't sleep with them is because you're worried about expelling gas. Who are din by tefillin, and now just like you can go ahead and take the big day, put it on the side, so too your tefillin you can put on the side. So Achanami was started that it's speaking to Keneged Roshayim. Disal Kedaitach Takas Roshayim, V'tepikle Mishum Kalayim. Forget about whether you can have enough from them or not have enough from them. You have a Kalayim problem, right? The Ha'ika Avnei, there's the Avnei, which is made of Kalayim. So now we get into the sugya of Kalayim. So what's wrong with lying down on Kalayim? When the Hinami did nitnu lahanas behen, hamishani Kalayim. So good, you can have enough from what? From the big day. You don't have a big day kahuna problem. You got a general problem. You got a problem of Kalayim. So now, let's go with the gears of the Bach. So guys, the avnit of the Kohen Gadol on Yom Kippur was white. It was a white linen. And that's the same as the beged of the Kohen Hedyet throughout the year. So that's also linen. So Memela, the Kohen Hedyet, doesn't have Kalayim. That would work out. He doesn't have Kalayim. Ella lemandiyama avnita shel Kohen Gadol b'Yom Kippur loizehu, but it's not the same. Meaning, on Yom Kippur the Kohen Gadol wears white, but the Kohen Hedyet wears Kalayim. Ma'ik lamema, you got a Kalayim problem. How can you lie down upon the Kalayim? V'chitema Kalayim b'levisha v'halahu diasa. It's also to wear, to dress or carry it on your back. B'hoitza shari, but to lie down upon it, it's permitted. And therefore, you could put it ostensibly underneath your head. But Tanya, it says, don't put it on top of you. You could use it as a pillow or a mattress. However, you're not permitted to do that. Maybe you'll have a hair that is wrapped on your basar, and therefore you have a client problem. You'll put something between it. You put a pillowcase on. 10 mattresses, one on top of the other. The kalayim tachteim, the bottom one's made of kalayim. Also lishan aleim. It's also to lie upon them. Elalav shmamina, right? Lav shmamina kineged rashayim. Shmamina. That obviously must mean opposite. Must be opposite them. Rav Ashi Yom Alolam Tachas Rashayim. Alolam says Tachas. In other words, guys, so if it's Kalayim, it's a problem. So you have no raya. In other words, basically you have no raya. Right now we're holding, you don't know the halacha about whether the Kohen head you can have enough from it or not, or the Kohen Gadol. So now Rav Ashi, just to finish off this Indian, says Loyam Tachas Rashayim, they could lie in it. What about Kalayim? Kalayim. Big Day Kahuna Koshin Hain. The Big Day Kahuna, they're hard. The issue of lying down upon them is derechimum. It's going to go ahead and warm you up. This won't warm you up, and therefore it'd be permitted. This hard mattress, the neresh of the place called neresh, sharia for kalayim because it's does not mechamim. Anyway, toshma. Let's try to be poished ashayla again. Can you have enough from the Big Day Kahuna or not? Toshma Big Day Kahuna yoytze ben lemedina. If you wear it outside the Beis Hamikdash, also over Migdash, but in the Beis Hamikdash, bein b'shas avoda, bein shloi b'shas avoda muta. Big Day Kahuna nitnu lahanas behem. Shmami, you can't get more clear than that, right? It says it openly, right? The Big Day Kahuna you can have enough from. Now, you can have enough from it, but it doesn't mean that you can wear it home. It means when you finish the avoda, you don't have to take it off right away and walk in your birthday suit. It doesn't mean that. It means that means you could have anah, but the limitation is that you should have a shaykhus to what you're doing in the Beis Hamikdash. Stam is like to put them on, for a Sunday drive and go out somewhere, that you can't do. Okay, now we get it. It says in the Medina you can't wear them. I'm going to get into the very, very famous Gemara with Shimon Tzaddik and Alexander Moikdan and Alexander the Great. Over Medina Loiva Tanya. Now there's a Megillah called Megillah's Tainus, guys. It's a euphemism because it's not Megillah's Tainus. It's not Megillah's the days you have to fast. It's all the days that you're not permitted to fast. The most famous being, of course, is Hanukkah. The most famous being is Hanukkah. So now, Batanya be'esem v'chamesh b'teves, on the 25th days of Teves, Yoim Har Grizim. It's called Yom Har Grizim. Deloy l'masped, you can have a spadim. Yom shebikshu kutim es beis alakenu melachsanshim moikton lachrivai. The day the kutim desired to go ahead and have Alexander destroy the Beis Hamikdash. V'nasan lehem, and I'm changing the girsa. V'nasan lehem reshus, and he gave them a shus. Boy v'yidu as Shimon HaTzadik. They came in. Shimon HaTzadik was informed of this plan. Mal also, what did he do? Lavish Big Day Kahuna, v'nesati Big Day Kahuna. He lavish Big Day Kahuna and nesati Big Day Kahuna. Umakir Shleim Imoy and the Makir Shleim accompanied him. Bavuka Shalar Yedeim, they were carrying torches. They were going one way, and the Macedonians were coming the other way. So Alexander said to the Kutim, Mi Allah, who are these people? They told Alexander, Yehudim Shemardu Bach. These are the rebellious Jews. Kim Shagil Antiperius, they came to the town of Antiperius. Zarcha Chama became, they didn't need to see Al Yadei Avukas anymore. They were able to go ahead and look throughout to the sun. They were able to go ahead and through the sun. Upagu zeh bezeh, and they what? They pagu zeh bezeh, they met each other. Kim Shirol Shimon Tzadik, as soon as Alexander saw Shimon Tzadik, Yored Mirakaftoi, he got off his chariot. He bowed down in front of him. Okay, guys, this is the leader of the world. This is the most powerful man in the world, bowing down in front of Shimon Tzadik. Amruloi, the Sudoikim said to the Kutim said to Shimon Tzadik, Melech Gadol Kamoischa, Yishtachavel Yehudi Zeh, Amalehem, the Mustik Yoinish Shal Zeh, Minatzkos Lefanai, Beis Mulchamasim. When I plan for battle, this person, I get an idea of what I want to do in war. And it's the image of Shimon Tzadik that I see in front of me. So Amalehem Lama Basem. So they said to Shimon, "Why are you coming?" So Amar Efsha Bayishim Espalun Bayalecha Yal Malchuscha Shaloi Techrav. The house that davens for you and your Malchus that it should not be destroyed is Avchoiv Dekachav Machriva. Gavdechim want to go ahead and destroy it. This is before the Kutim Uwat were Gerim because it says Oiv Dekachavim. So Amalehem Mi Alalu who are them? Amlai Kutim Alalu. Then Harihem Misum B'Yadchem. So says Alexander to the Shimon Tzadik and the rest of the Jews there, do whatever you want with them. Miyad Nakum Nekveyam, they made holes in the heels. V'tolim Biznave Susim, they tied them up to their horses. They were pulling them over the bushes and thorns and thistles. Until they came to Hargizim. They plowed over Hargizim. And they planted there Kashina and Vetch. So again, this is before the Kutim became Gerim. In the future, we're going to see in the days of Rabbi, they were Gere Arroyos because they had a lion problem. And we're going to see that they found up on Har Zeisim, they found on Har Grizim, they found that the mus of a pigeons of yoinim they were serving up by the zara, but this all transpired before that. Okay, big day kahuna. So guys, we're holding by a kasha with a nice story, but we're holding by a kasha. What's the kasha? You told me in Medina you're not able to wear them. How is Shimon Tzadik wearing them in Tiberia? It's a nice story. Bottom line is, how can Shimon Tzadik be wearing the big day kahuna in Tiberia? That's the kasha. And for the Gemara, Iba is saying Maruim le big day kahuna. It wasn't mamish the big day kahuna. It was roy for the big day kahuna. Iba is saying Eis Lasos Lashem Efer Teraska. It was an Eis Lasos. Look at Rashi, guys. An important Rashi. Eis Lasos Lashem Efer Teraska. Kishabo Eis Lasos Davel Lishmoishal Malkaim. When it comes the time to do something in the name of Hashem. It's This is the reason we have the Gemara. The whole reason we have Mishnayos and Gemara, the Mishnayos is only because of Eis Las Hashem is going to be forgotten. Okay, so this is the source. Guys, good? Okay, for the people who came late, I'm sorry, I put out a 10:15. I was finished my chavus earlier, so we started at 10 o'clock. So we're in Samech Tes Amid Aleph, 3 lines in the bottom. So we went through the protocol. The Chazan HaKnesses, he would go ahead and he would give it to the Rosh HaKnesses, and he would give it to the Sagon, who would give it to the Kohen Gadol. You have such a whole gauntlet of people carrying this Torah. Says the Gemara, Shema Mina Cholkin Cover the Talmud Makam Rav. You give cover to the Talmud, the Rosh Knesses, the Chazan Knesses, and the Sagan, the Makam the Kohen Gadol. So Mabaya Kula Mishum Cover the Kohen Gadol. All this elevated the prestige of the Kohen Gadol that he was higher than all of these. So it wasn't Cholkin cover to them. Abdrab is Cholkin cover to the Kohen Gadol. Look how many ambassadors he has underneath him. The Kohen Gadol, the Kohen Gadol would stand up and he would read. Mechlal until that period of time. Shuri Yoshev. Frag Gemara Banan Tanan Amid Beis. Ein yeshiva ba'zara elo malchus beis David bulvad. We had this earlier in Daf Chafei in the Masechta, and in Sanhedrin Be'ez Hashem, that the only person who could sit in the Beis Hamikdash was the Kohen Gadol, was David HaMelech. Then there's the raid on here is look at Rashi. Ein yeshiva ba'zara d'chsiv lamoy d'shares. It says to stand and to serve. So you have to ha'oimdim sham l'fnei Hashem v'lo matzina bo yeshiva. So according to Rashi, it seems to be a pasuk in the Torah. However, Rashi in Masechta Saita, or it's either Saita or I forgot. It's either Saita or Sanhedrin says it's Allah Moshe Sinai. I could be Sanhedrin. It says Allah Moshe Sinai, and this would be only then be an asmachta, says the Mishnah Melech. Okay, anyway, English Bazar basic Machos Bishvat Shnemar Vayover Melech David Vayesh Lefnei Hashem Kidam Rav Chisda Be'ezus Gemara Kidam Rav Chisda Be'ezus Noshem. Where would he read it? He would read it in the Ezus Noshem, which is not Lefnei Hashem. That's has a loch of Machna Levia. That's in the Harabayas. Hachanami Be'ezus Noshem. V'heichiyim and Rav Chisda. Where did Rav Chisda say they would read Ezus Noshem? Now Ezra gathered the people when they were oil from Bavel. They came and they gathered. I know it was Hakel. They gathered in the Beis Hamikdash. Take out the word Mesave. The Tanya. Heichen Korim Ba Bazara. Where they read in the Bazara. Rav Lezman Yaakov Boim B'Harabayas. Shnemar. So the Reis Rav Lezman Yaakov. So here's where he said that was the Sharamayim means Bezos Noshim. So just like over here by Ezra was Bezos Noshim, so too by the Kohen Gadol he was reading Bezos Noshim, and therefore he was able to sit. And now, since we're discussing Ezra coming up, we're going to do a few more psukim from that incident. It says, "Vayevorech Ezra es Hashem Elokim Hagadol." My Gadol, Rabbi Yosef, Rav Shegidlu b'Shem Mefarish. He said the Shem HaMefarish. He said the Shem HaMefarish. Rav Gidl Amar, right? Baruch Hashem Elokei Yisrael min olam ad olam. They used to say Baruch Hashem Elokei Yisrael, and he added now, says Taisus Yishanim and Taisus min olam ad olam. That's what he added. That wasn't there until now. Amalei Abaya, take out Rav Dimi. V'dilma shegidlu b'Shem HaMefarish. Why would you say that? Why didn't you say that he said the Shem HaMefarish? Amalei einayim Shem HaMefarish b'gevulim. You don't say the Shem HaMefarish outside the Beis Hamikdash, and the Ezos Noshim is not the Beis Hamikdash, guys. That's the Harabayas. It's not the Beis Hamikdash proper. For Loi Fred Gemara, you don't say the Shem HaMefarish outside. I'll show you an instance where he did. V'ksiv v'yamed Ezra haSofer al Migdal Eitz asher asu ledavar v'Amar Rav Gidl shegidlo b'Shem HaMefarish. So you see, he did say it outside the Beis Hamikdash. And for the Gemara Harasha, it was Harasha. Now the Levium were there. They gathered together. This is the gathering the Anshe Knesset Agadola, and they're going to do something very, very famous Gemara. They're going to get rid of the Taiva for Avodah Zarah. They're going to get rid of the Taiva for the Zarah. So says the Gemara. It says, Vayitzku Hashem Elokim B'Kol Gadol Leviim. They call that the Kadosh Baruch Hu in a loud voice, and this tefillah is to get rid of it. My Omar, what did they say? Omar Avitim Rav Yochanan. They said, Bia Bia. Whoa, whoa, whoa. And Hainu Hai Da'achriva L'Mikdasha. This is Avodah Zarah. This type of Avodah Zarah destroyed our Beis Hamikdash. The Kalya Leichol and burnt the Heichel. The Katlinu Lekulit Tzadikim, the Tzadikim were all killed. The Aglinu Yisrael Me'aron, and it caused us to be what? Exiled from our land. Vadayim Meraket Beinon, and still dancing among us. We still have this taiva for this. Klum Yavinus Lon, the whole reason he gave it to us, Elul Kabuli Be'igra, to get schar, to overcoming it. We don't need it, and we don't need it. No, we're losing. We can't do this. So nafalu pischa merakia, a petek fell out of Shemayim. You're right. You don't need it. You don't need the schar, and you don't need the nisayin, and I'm going to take it away. So I'm Rav Chinan Shmamina Chayis Mishal Kaim Emes. The chasima, sparkle seal is emes. So what did they do? It wasn't so easy just to get rid of it. They fasted for 3 days and 3 nights. You find fasting, guys, 3 days and 3 nights. You find the 3 days. You find it by Yaina, you find it by Esther, you find it by the Shvatim, right? And Masul in LA, it was given in LA, it was given over to them. Nafik Asa Kiguria the Nurim and base Kachik Kadashim. It came out like a golden lion cub from the Kachik Kadashim. Amalu Navi Yisrael, Hainu Yitzra Dabes Kachavim. The Navi said, this, I think the Navi was Zechariah ben Edo. He said, "This is what? This is the Taiva for Avodah Zarah." Shenema b'yom zois hirsha b'hadei tafsilahu. When they grabbed it, ishtamit b'nisei mimazya. A hair fell out of its mane. For Rama Kala, V'asa kola arba mea parsi. The whole Eretz Yisrael, the kol reached the whole Eretz Yisrael, 400 parsa. Amru hechi neva. What should we do? Dilma chas v'sholem merachmi alachem and Shemaya. After all, it's one of the shemiyas. They may go ahead and min Shemayim. They may go ahead and have rachmanis. They may have rachmanis. So Amalu Navi shadua beduda ivra. Put it in a duda the ivra of aver of lead. Put in a lead flask. The chafyu the pume beivra and cover it up with lead. The ivra mashiv shoev kala. We're on the Amid Beis. We're on the Amid Beis, Rabbi. The mashiv shoev kala went ahead and it muffles sound. Lead muffles sound. Shnema vayomer zoser shoev vayashlech esel toicha efa vayashlech es even ha'feres alpia. Amru choyel beisuatzanu. They said, listen, this is a lucky day. We're getting rid of the taiva from the zara. Let's go for it. The boy rachme ayitzra davera. Let's go ahead and let's rachmanis. Maybe we'll get a word for the Yetzer Hara of the avera. The avera is what is nus. The taiva for nus. So boy rachme v'amsi b'yadayu. They daven and guess what? Hashem gave it over to them. Amar lahu said the Yetzer Hara for nus to them. Chazu the ikat lisay bahu gavra. Meaning if you kill me, kalya alma, the world will be destroyed. Chavshua tilsa yaimei. They imprisoned the Yetzer Hara for 3 days. Uboy biyusa basyuma. They needed a fresh egg for if someone who was sick. They couldn't find one egg in Eretz Yisrael. The roosters stopped doing their job. Amru heichin navid. What should we do? Knock the lay to kill it. The avodah zara kalya alma will destroy the world. There won't be any more procreation. Ni boy rachmeya palga. So let's at least get rid of half. Palga b'rakil layavit. Hakadosh Baruch Hu, it's not chatzi david. It's all or nothing. However, they put makeup in its eyes, they blinded it, the shavkua, and they let it go. At least the person stopped having taiva for his relatives. So he did have a little bit of a respite from the avodah zara. That's I guess the fact that he blinded the eyes shows they took Epis a little bit away from it. Conversely, the taiva for avodah zara, there's a little shemitz left over. You still have the hair left over there, right? That hair that fell. It's not so partial. Now, Rav Masli Hachi in Eretz Yisrael, they learned about the following way. Rav Gidl Omar, Gadol Shegidlu b'Shem HaMefarish. They said the Shem HaMefarish. Rav Masli Omar, this is the Gemara, guys. Hakel HaGadol v'Agibor. Moshe Rabbeinu in Masech the Brachas told us Hakel HaGadol v'Agibor v'Hanoira. The Hadar Rav Masli Matul Reb Yeshua ben Levi. Rav Masli said that Hakel HaGadol v'Hanoira is supported by Reb Yeshua ben Levi. Then Reb Yeshua ben Levi, Lama Nikra Shmon Anshe Knesses HaGadolah. Why they would call the Anshe Knesses HaGadolah? They restored the crown to its glory. They restored the name of Hashem, as we're going to see. Asa Moshe Amar Hakel HaGadol HaGibor v'Hanoira. Asa Yirmiyahu Amar Nachrim Mekarkarim beHechaloi. The Nachrim, they're croaking in your Hechel. Ayena Oisa. Where are your wondrous things? So they took away the word Noira. Le'yom Noira. Asa Dani Alama Nachrim Mishtabdim beBenodav. The Nachim are oppressing your children. Where is your Gvura? So that they just said a Hakel HaGadol. Asa inu v'Amar Adrabah. Zui Gvura asay. What's the Gvura of Hashem? Shekoyvish es Yitzray. Shenoisin erech apayim l'rishayim. That what? To go ahead and destroy it right away. That's no big spitz. To go ahead and give them a chance for tshuva the marachap. That's real godless. Right? The Elohei Noirosav, you want to know Ayena Noirosav? I'll tell you where they are. Shalmale Moirish al Kodesh Baruch Hu, Heich Uma Achas Yechoyim L'Skayim Ben Umas. You want to know something wondrous, guys? How are we around after all these years? All these years, so many people wanting to destroy us. Mamish, it's unbelievable. And guess what? Titus, where? Ich bin da, wo bist du? The words of the Panovich Rav, screaming at the arch of Titus, right? Where are you? I'm here. And that's where we are. Moshe said, how could they possibly, Yirmiyahu and how could Yirmiyahu and how could Daniel go ahead and possibly change what Moshe said? Some Rebbe Laza, since the Kodesh Baruch Hu's chasim is emes, he wouldn't stand for something that's sheka. So if Hashem wasn't noira, if Hashem wasn't a gibor, it wouldn't be. He would accept it. But the Anshe Knesset restored the Gedula, restored the Gevira. Have a great night, everybody.